Please be seated. Well, good afternoon, and welcome to you all to this time of remembrance, this time of thanksgiving, and this time for tears and sadness as well. You've all come to this place to say goodbye to and celebrate the life of Michael Steeves, beloved son, brother, uncle, nephew, cousin, colleague, and dear friend. You're here to remember his part in your lives, to celebrate happy memories, and to give thanks for shared experiences, both in good times and in challenging times. And I'm going to do a little aside here. The family asked me to put it out there early in the service that there will be an opportunity for people to come up here and say a few words in remembrance of Mike at a later point in the program. So I just wanted to put it out there so you have a moment or two to give it some thought if there's something that you'd like to say today in remembrance of Mike. And so you've all come here because your family or your friends, or because you knew Mike through other connections in his life. Or maybe you're here today to support those who are grieving, to surround them with love and bear them up for their life's journey. But whatever your reason is for being here, we're glad that you've come to remember and to honor Mike. And this is a poem the family has chosen in remembrance of Mike, called Remember Him. Remember him with a smile today. He wasn't one for tears. Reflect instead on memories of all the happy years. Recall to mind the way he spoke and all the things he said. His strength, his stance, the way he walked. Remember these instead. The good advice he'd give us, his eyes that shone with laughter. So much of him will never die, but live on ever after. As we loved you, so we miss you, Mike. In our memory, you are near, loved, remembered, longed for always, bringing many a silent tear. And Mike was indeed very loved. He was such a young man, only 27 years old, but I know he packed a lot of living into that time, and he had a positive impact on a lot of people. Mike so deeply cared for people. He was really there not just for his family and friends and the people he served through his work as a paramedic, but for anyone that he encountered who had need of any sort. Helping others was truly Mike's passion, which he got to live every day in his career. Mike worked hard doing what he loved. He was spontaneous, he was fun-loving, outgoing, a happy guy with a great sense of humor. And he was also very affectionate and playful. Mike was a good friend to so many, somehow forming special connections with each person in his life, which is really a gift. He was a big man with a big heart and a generous spirit. And I shared this message that Mike's Aunt Linda sent to his mom, Joan, the other day. I think it really sums up what Mike was all about. Work for cause, not applause. Live life to express, not to impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed. Just make your absence felt. And Mike's absence is definitely being felt by all who knew and loved him. And even though his life was cut way too short, he really did have an amazing life. He gave it his all, and now he's really going to be missed. Even so, I know that you're going to keep feeling the impact Mike's character and his life had on yours in many special ways, through those activities that remind you of him, like every time you go to Timmy's for a coffee, or when you play a game of crib, or just when you're out there in the great outdoors that he loved so much. Also through conversations where you share memories, through those quiet moments when you can feel his lasting presence deep within your hearts. And there Mike lives on, because the reality is that we don't forget, we don't move on, we don't actually have closure. When we lose a loved one, we honor, we remember, and we incorporate them into our lives in a new way. In fact, keeping memories of your loved one alive in your mind and heart is a really important part of the healing journey. Now, I know Mike wasn't one to be sad, and if he saw people being sad, he would do whatever he could to cheer you up. He wouldn't want a lot of tears and sadness here, but unfortunately, it's not his choice, and that's not the way it works. You know, this is a place for both laughter and tears. We're celebrating his life, but we're also mourning his death. The two actually go hand in hand. And I think it's important for everyone who's deeply affected by Mike's death to really let yourselves fully grieve this really tragic loss. I remind you, it's by allowing the process of grief to unfold instead of trying to avoid it that you're able to really start the process of making peace with what's happened as you learn to live without Mike's physical presence. Grief is just one of those things that you really can't get around. You have to go through it to get to the other side. And what's also true is that even in the midst of loss and grief, we who remain must also keep our gaze on life. Mike loved life. He lived it. He was in the moment and he made the most of it. He loved, he laughed, he helped, he inspired, and he was well respected. Let his life be an example to each and every one of us to live our lives as fully as we can every single day in whatever way is right for us. And in the words of John O'Donoghue to Mike, may you continue to inspire us to enter each day with a generous heart, to serve the call of courage and love until we see your beautiful face again in that land where there is no more separation, where all tears will be wiped from our mind, and where we will never lose you again. And so with that, we are going to move into our tributes to Mike. So as I said before, we're going to start with his friends Sharon Buffard and Sheena King, and after that, if there's anyone else, you're welcome to come up and share your remembrance as well. So Sharon and Sheena.
It's okay. Here we go. Good afternoon. We are so grateful that everyone could come together to celebrate the life of Mike. It is so wonderful to look around and see so many hearts that Mike has touched. This is Sheena, a close friend and colleague of Mike, and my name is Sharon, and I had the opportunity to work alongside Mike as his partner, and I am very blessed to call him my ultimate best friend. I wanted to start off with a quote by Joseph Campbell. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. I feel like Mike is the perfect example of a hero. We are all here today because we have one thing in common, Mike. I do not need to say much more because I know that he has touched every one of your lives just as much as he has mine. Talking with Mike's friends and family these last couple of days has made us all realize that no one could think of a time where Michael was sad. He always, and I mean always, had that silly little grin or a huge smile on his face. It was contagious whenever he walked into a room. He never stopped smiling, and it always made me wonder what sort of mischief he was getting into next. Mike's mother, Joan, told us that Mike has always been a pretty big guy. All of his life he has, but she said he had to be a big guy to hold such a big heart. I know that we can all agree with that. These circumstances are unfortunate and they may seem very unfair, but Joan wants our memory of Mike to be positive, of him sitting up smiling with angels all around him, lifting him up. A lot of us know it will be more like Mike driving in a car with a coffee in his hand on the highway to heaven. He cared so much about everyone else. Joan was telling us a story that Mike did not want to come home for Christmas this year. He said, "Mom, people need me out there." He ended up receiving an emergency call for a patient that was lonely. Everyone told him this call was not an actual emergency and that he should not go. Mike said, "No, this is an emergency and it is important." Mike went to this patient's house and sat with them for as long as they needed him to. Now that is a true hero. We all know that Mike loved work. He took so much pride in what he did, and I know that he would be so honored by the love and respect shown for him today. Mike has made the world such a better place to be. I'm sure a lot of you can relate, but he would never let me have a bad day. If I was sad, he would hug me with one of his huge, huge bear hugs and not let me go until I smiled again. And literally, I could not get out. He would not let me go. It was annoying at first, but in the end, I loved it. He is definitely going to be greatly missed by so many people, but I know he would have just said what he always says. "It's okay. I'm good. Don't worry about me."
There are so many things that a person like Mike can teach us. For one, smiling is contagious. Be kind and loving to everyone. Make an extra little effort every day to do something nice for someone. Put a smile on someone's face. Positivity is key. Don't dwell on the bad things, just move forward. Don't be afraid to change your circumstances. Put yourself out there and do what you love. Cherish the time you spend with your family and friends. Put your phones down. Step away from your work and be in the present moment with people you love. Cherish every moment. And finally, love the life you live. Live the life you love. Life is a gift, and it offers us the privilege, opportunity, and responsibility to give something back by becoming more. It's a good quote by Tony Robbins. Once again, thank you all so much for making this a special day for Mike. Now, as Mike would say, go have a drink. Here's to you, here's to me. Good friends, may we always be. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for that. All right. So now, is there anyone else who'd like to come up and share a story or just say a few words in remembrance of Mike?
You'll have to forgive me, I'm not a very good public speaker. I wrote something briefly for Mike last night. I'm going to keep it brief. I don't need to tell any of you how amazing Mike was, because frankly, he probably already told you himself. Before we go on any further, because I know he wouldn't let me pass it on if the situation was reversed, I drove Mike's car down yesterday. And I thought that maybe something nice to do was rock out to his music. Being the only 27-year-old that I know that still has a CD collection, it was perfect. But Mike, I've got some serious, hard questions on your taste in music. Most notably, your Christina Aguilera CDs. It still didn't stop me from singing along to Genie and Bottle, though. Mike had quick wit, a dry sense of humor. He was sarcastic, and he was honestly one of the most laid-back people I've ever met. He rolled with the punches or circumstances we found ourselves in on a daily basis in EMS. It was truly refreshing to work with as a partner. The one thing he was unwavering on was his dedication to emergency services. The pride he took, and in his care and compassion he showed with every patient from every walk of life was evident. I know what he would say if he was here right now, looking over the faces of his friends and family. He would say, "Aw, muffin." That would come to mind, or maybe nothing a few beers can't fix. I know that when I was having a bad day, tired, burnt out, exhausted, one of the many little things from day-to-day life was stressing me out, Mike would always have something to say that was perfect for the time. Maybe it was so outrageous or smart-assed, it would shock you out of your head, and you had to laugh. I wish I had the chance to work with him more. With the few shifts we did get together, I truly enjoyed the benefit of the time together. One of the benefits of Mike being casual, since he started with AHS, that he's all got to share in the experience of working with Mike. If he was here now, he'd be making fun of me for having shaved and polished my boots, or wearing a tie. I wish I could hear what he'd say, but I think maybe he might tell me that I was pretty. I will miss our Wednesday beers and rants, and you. He was a brother to all of us, a partner to all of us, and my friend.
Is there anyone else? You don't need to wait to be invited. Once this young man's done, you can come right on.
Mike and I both really loved our caffeine. We could go through 3 pots in a day. One day, coming on shift, Mike has a coffee in his hand, and I'm like, "Oh, jet fuel?" He said, "They wouldn't give me any more than 4 espresso shots." We also loved our taste in horror movies. We would stay up till all hours of the night in Zama watching horror movies, and here I'd be at the side of the couch with the blanket up to my nose, and he's like, "Oh, that's not so scary." So, yeah, good friend.
I had the pleasure of working with Mike for probably about 3.5 years on an industrial site. We were partners together. We always had a good time out there. We'd choose who was going to which camp. We would go over and we would sit down. We would drink an ungodly amount of coffee. And we would talk until 11:30, 12 at night. And then go, okay, I guess we should probably go get a little bit of sleep before we have to get up in a few hours and go back to work. And could call him anytime. He'd call me, we'd talk each other down if we were having a bad day. For him, wasn't not that often. And yeah, he's definitely going to be definitely a true friend and someone that is going to be dearly missed. Dearly, dearly missed.
Mike was a great man. He loved us all. We loved him. To see him go, it hurt us all. But we should always know he'll be with us, in our head and in our hearts. The passing of him should not be sad, but we should celebrate it with the life we have.
Thank you. Hard to beat the wisdom from that little one. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your words and for your thoughts and for the love that you shared with Mike. So now we do have one more tribute to Mike, and this one is an audio-visual tribute prepared by John, right? His brother John, for us all to enjoy.
I am the fountain of affection. I'm the instrument of joy. To keep the good times rolling, I'm the boy, I'm the boy. You know the world could be our oyster. If you just put your trust in me, 'cause we'll keep the good times rolling. Wait and see, wait and see. Oh, wait and see. There's exultation, there's sweet disintegration, a few discolorations, then it comes along. Up is what he chooses, the kisses and the bruises, there ain't nothing he refuses, then it comes along, it comes along. And I am lifted, I am lifted, when I'm up I can't get down. Can't get down, can't get level. When I'm up, I can't get down. Get my feet back on the ground. When I'm up, I can't get down. Can't get down, can't get level. When I'm up, I can't get down. Get my feet back on the ground. He just needs something to find him, something to wind him up. It won't take long to find him when it comes on strong. Black skies are grinning, street lights are spinning, night is just beginning, and then it comes on strong. It comes on strong, and I am lifted, I am lifted. When I'm up, I can't get down. Can't get down, can't get level. When I'm up, I can't get down. Get my feet back on the ground. When I'm up, I can't get down. Can't get down, can't get level. When I'm up, I can't get down. Get my feet back on the ground. Oh, I can't get down. Oh, no, 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 I can't get down. Oh, it comes on strong, and I am lifted. It comes on strong, and I am lifted. I am lifted, I am lifted. When I'm up, I can't get down. Can't get down, can't get level. When I'm up, I can't get down. Get my feet back on the ground. When I'm up, I can't get down. Can't get down, can't get level. When I'm up, I can't get down. Get my feet back on the ground. Oh, I can't get down. Oh, no, 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 I can't get down. Oh, I can't get down.
Oh, the night that Patty Murphy died is a night I'll never forget. Some of the boys got loaded drunk and they ain't got sober yet. As long as the bottle was passed around, every man was feeling gay. O'Leary came with the bagpipes and music for to play. That's how they showed their respect for Patty Murphy. That's how they showed their honor and their pride. They said it was a sin and a shame, and they winked at one another. And every drink in the place was full the night Pat Murphy died. As Mrs. Murphy sat in the corner pouring out her grief, Kelly and his gang came tearing down the street. They went into an empty room and a bottle of whiskey stole. They put the bottle with the corpse to keep that whiskey cold. That's how they showed their respect for Patty Murphy. That's how they showed their honor and their pride. They said it was a sin and shame, and they winked at one another. And every drink in the place was full the night Pat Murphy died. About 2 o'clock in the morning, after emptying the jug, Doyle rose up the icebox lid to see for Patty's mug. They stopped the clock so Mrs. Murphy couldn't tell the time. And at 2:15, we argued it was 9. That's how they showed their respect for Patty Murphy. That's how they showed our honor and our pride. They said it was a sin and a shame, and they winked at one another. stopped the hearse on George Street outside Sundance Saloon. They all went in at 8:30 and staggered out at noon. They went up to the graveyard, so holy and sublime. Found out when they got there, they left the corpse behind. That's how they showed their respect for Paddy Murphy. That's how they showed their honor and their pride. They said it was a sin and a shame, and we winked at one another. And every drink in the place was full the night Pat Murphy died. Oh, the night that Paddy Murphy died is a night I'll never forget. Some of the boys got loaded drunk and they ain't been sober yet. As long as the bottle was passed around, every man was feeling gay. Oh, Larry came with a bagpipe, some music for the play. That's how they showed their respect for Paddy Murphy. That's how they showed their honor and their pride. They said it was a sin and a shame, and they winked at one another. And every drink in the place was full the night Pat Murphy died. Well, every drink in the place was full the night Pat Murphy died.
Oh, lots of amazing memories, huh? Here's a little poem quote. Those we love remain with us always because love itself lives on. And cherished memories never fade because a loved one's gone. Those we love can never be more than a thought away. For as long as there is memory, they are in our hearts to stay. And I certainly know that that's where Mike is. And so, Mike, we thank you. We thank you for all the love, the life, the laughter you shared in your lifetime, and for the precious memories you leave behind. We bid you farewell with love and with gratitude in our hearts. And now let the comforting words of the psalmist bring some reassurance that really none of us are ever alone as we go through this life and beyond. This is from Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Beloved Creator and Sustainer of all, we thank you for the gift of life, and today we particularly thank you for the gift of Mike's life, a gift to us and to so many others in this world. And we also thank you for the gift of love, for the wonder of human relationships, the ability to know another and be known, to be accepted by another and to accept, to live in depth of meaning together. And today, we particularly thank you for the love all have known from Mike and the love they could offer him in return. And we're grateful, Lord, that your ever-present love is now and always surrounding every person here, just as it continues to surround Mike in his new dimension in living. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. And so as we near the end of our service here today, on behalf of the family, I'd like to thank you all for being here to remember and to honor Mike and to celebrate his life. And they'd like you to know that you're invited to join them for a reception, a more informal part of this celebration. And that's going to be in the reception room, just down the way, the reception center. So I just ask that you wait and allow the attendants and the honor guard to lead us out in this process today. But I'd like to leave you with a wee Celtic blessing, not the one you're thinking. You thought I was going to do that. May the road rise to meet you. I'm not. So always remember to forget the things that made you sad, but never forget to remember the things that made you glad. Always remember to forget the friends that proved untrue, but never forget to remember those that have stuck by you. Always remember to forget the troubles that passed away, but never forget to remember the blessings that come each day. God bless you all. So the attendants are going to lead you up to pay your final respects, and then lead you out through these doors out to the reception center.